What if I told you that the month of June is one of the most important months on the calendar? June is Men's Mental Health Month. So listen, throughout this month of June, we're going to be diving into mental health topics as it has to do with men. So fellas, let's go. It's time for us to break through all of those barriers and let's talk about some of these things. And ladies, we need your attention too, because we need you to be able to identify some of the things that the men in your life and the boys in your life may be experiencing, but also may be masking. So if you're ready to talk about it, I'm ready. Let's go. Welcome back again. I'm Coach Will Lane. I am your mental health coach. And to start off this Men's Mental Health Month, the first topic that we're going to tackle for today is depression. But again, we're going to look at it from a male's perspective, or how depression impacts a male, and some of the signs and the symptoms that will point or be indicators that maybe you as a man or the male in your life is experiencing depression. Depression is unfortunately a very common mental health disorder, and it is a mood disorder that it affects various areas of lives, and it's characteristically it's a low mood where there will be sadness, there will be a lack of motivation, and we're going to go through many of the symptoms, but I just want to be clear on this. These lessons that I'm going to be doing on mental health, it is not so much for clinicians. It can benefit clinicians. It can be things that they can attest to, affirm, and agree with. But I want to empower the general public that may not understand many of the things that you're experiencing. Therefore, fellow clinicians, you have to excuse me. I'm going to be doing my best to make the language as plain as possible, because the goal is not to come off brilliant and to come off smart. The goal is to empower the listeners, empower the watchers, empower the community, so that they can actually have some practical steps to benefit their lives. Isn't that what we're all doing this for? I know we are. So without further ado, let's look at depression. A male with depression may be feeling hopeless, unmotivated. They may struggle to get out of bed. They might not find joy in some of the activities that they used to enjoy. And this is very important to understand, because depression is very individual. These are just symptoms and signs, but it may be different for everyone, for every different male. Depression is complex, multifaceted, and it varies from person to person. So there's not a definitive cause, and we're going to look at many of the causes in a second, but I just want us to understand that the goal is to learn some of these tips, some of these facts about depression, so that we can identify it. And as I always stress, self-awareness, self-awareness, self-awareness. We can then begin to help ourselves and help our loved ones. So first, biological. Brain chemistry imbalances, as it has to do with neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. These neurotransmitters, they regulate mood. That's how God designed us. And so depression can have a more chemical cause if there's some neurotransmitter deficiencies in some areas. Genetics, some families have a genetic predisposition to depression, and it can run through the family lines. Psychological factors, trauma and stress in a nutshell. Experiencing traumatic events such as abuse, significant loss, or any significant life-changing event, it can trigger depression. Chronic stressors, it could be a loss of a job, financial difficulties, relationship problems. All of these things can be this onset of depressive symptoms. And again, this is where we really need to be careful. And let me just say this. Any of these videos, I am in no way trying to diagnose anyone, trying to label anyone. But again, this is for the purpose, this information, this content is for the purpose of educating us, of letting us get an idea of what we may be encountering. you have to be able to identify the enemy that you are fighting, that you're going to conquer, or you're just blindfolded, just swinging aimlessly, blindfolded, feeling and experiencing things happening in your life, but with no clue to actually what's going on. So again, this is not to try to diagnose, try to label, but it is so that we can take responsibility for our lives. It is also so that we can be proactive in our lives. A person with low self-esteem personality traits, or a perfectionist personality trait, or they're just more just by personality lethargic, they could be easily classified and misdiagnosed as someone that's depressed. However, that same person needs to know that even if you got this super chill, laid back, slow, just kind of down in the mouth, more negative type way about you, you need to know that there is more likelihood of you falling into depression. That's very important for you to know. That said, let's look at some of the other possible causes of depression. Past experiences, early childhood experiences, including adverse childhood experiences like neglect, abuse, as we mentioned before. It can impact your emotional development, and it can also increase your risk of depression later in life. And so this is general information about depression, but we're going to dig into what it looks like in a man. So just stay with me here. So some environmental factors. So social isolation. It's very important to understand that you cannot face and you should not face depression alone. We are created to be social beings. That's how God made us. Lack of social supports or feelings of loneliness, it just kind of exacerbates depressive symptoms. Social connecting, meaningful relationships, that plays a huge role in our mental well-being. We cannot live our lives and be healthy as a loner, as they would say. So social connections and meaningful relationships play a crucial role, guys. Fellas, you hear me? Meaningful relationships. They play a crucial role in our mental well-being. Stressful life events, major life events such as losing a job, a divorce, chronic illness. These things can trigger or worsen depressive symptoms. Adverse environmental factors such as poverty or exposure to violence, it can also contribute to depressive symptoms. And next, medical conditions. There are some medical conditions that may be pre-existing that can contribute to you actually experiencing depression. So chronic illnesses, certain medical conditions such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, chronic pain, these things can increase the risk of depression, the stress of managing that illness itself, as well as the impact that the symptoms you're having has on your daily function. All of these things, these can contribute to what we would call a bad day, which interpreted is a depressive day, a day full of depressive symptoms. And lastly, depression can also be experienced through medication. So some medications like antidepressants, steroids, they may have side effects that can contribute to this sad feeling or this just down mental attitude. So it's essential to discuss, like when you're talking to your healthcare providers, we have to know these things. We need to start discussing some of the side effects of the medication, because you don't want to be in jeopardy of now you have to get a medication to treat a symptom that came from medication. Does that make sense? So in a nutshell, guys, it's just so important to understand that when we're talking depression, it's complex and individualized. No two people are the same. None of us have the same fingerprints, and none of us experience these things exactly the same. That's why in the mental health profession, there's a lot of practice that happens, and all practice has to be guided by first assessing the situation. So what I want to do is I want to help you. You may not be a clinician. You may not be a therapist. You may not be licensed. You may not have a lot of knowledge and know-how as it has to do with mental health, but you still need to thrive in life. So it is very important to me that you understand what you can do to help you experience mental wellness. Is that good to you? One technique that is commonly used for depression is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and that deals with our thought process. It deals with us being able to, like the Bible says, capture our thoughts and replace negative, unproductive thoughts with positive, productive thoughts. And so that's the way that we want to live. And so mindfulness meditation, that helps. Being mindful, it's also, like I preach, self-awareness, self-awareness, self-awareness. Being mindful helps us pay attention to what's going on in the present moment with, and this is the key, with openness, without being judgmental of what we are aware of. So mood comes with a feeling. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling unhappy, the best way to deal with that mood is to understand that all mood and all feeling is attached to a thought. There is a thought that leads to a mood and a feeling. And that mood and that feeling over a period of time is what ends up being deemed as depression. So when we trace that root and we go all the way back to the beginning, it starts with a thought. It begins with a thought. So being able to capture your thoughts and determine what you are willing to define your situations as is paramount. It is number one, the best thing that you can do for depression. And it's something that you don't even have to go to therapy about. Listen, I am a therapist, so I advocate for therapy. But what you need to know about therapy is, number one, therapy is not magic. Number two, in therapy, we are trained this way. We are trained to lead you to your answer so that you do the work, okay? The therapist is not supposed to do all the work. That's why primarily we listen as you talk, because as you talk, you begin to trace that root that I was talking about so that you can get to that thought that is disturbing you, that's causing those depressive feelings and those moods. Does that make sense? So take the time and be aware of what's going on in the moment. What does that do? It keeps you in the moment. Most of the moods and most of the thoughts that you're thinking, they are literally either something that hasn't happened yet, so you're predicting something, or something that's in the past that is not, it is not your present reality. But feelings, your emotions and your subconscious, it has no sense of time. It does not deal with time. That's why you get a thought and you get a feeling and it feels like you're back in middle school. Because thoughts and feelings, your subconscious mind, does not deal with past, does not deal with future. It only deals with now. So staying in the moment is a key that can really help you. Number two tip, regular exercise. Be active, get up. Physical activity has been shown to have a powerful antidepressant effect. I'll say it again. Physical activity has a powerful antidepressant effect by increasing the production of those endorphins, neurotransmitters we talked about, and promoting feelings of well-being. So when you engage in regular exercise, whether it's jogging, swimming, lifting, it can help. It can definitely help men to alleviate depressive symptoms, improve their sleep quality, and boost their self-esteem. And this is a tip, and it's not to be done alone, but if you combine capturing those thoughts, staying in the moment, thinking on things that are productive and that are good, along with physical activity, you are well on your way. These are just some quick tips that you can do on a daily basis to help your state. And lastly, number three, social support. You need a social support network. God did not design us to be alone. God said it is not good for man to be alone. And that's why he created Eve. And that's why he created a family. We have families. We're born into families. Building and maintaining social network of friends, family members, support groups can provide valuable emotional support and encouragement from men, especially men who are dealing with depression. Now, spending time with these supportive individuals who validate experiences, offer empathy, but can keep it real in this sense. They will help challenge some of those negative thoughts. These are the type of social settings that we want to find ourselves in. You want to check your group. If your group is full of people that when you're feeling down on yourself, they confirm why you feel down on yourself. When you're feeling sad, they tell you why they're sad too. That's not the social support we need. When we're feeling down on ourselves, we need to remember, challenge that depressive thought with an empowering thought. So we need our friends. We can't be alone in this. We need friends and family members that when you're feeling down on yourself, they're going to pick you up and let you know what's great about you. You know, the Bible says that we should acknowledge all the good things about us. Acknowledging every good thing about us. That's a daily practice that we should have, and it keeps us and wards off some of these depressive symptoms. So the goal of this whole video is to bolster your support. I want to support you, and I want to support you on the ground level. I want you as men, we need to know about mental health. We need to know the ways that we front when we're feeling depressed so that we can really deal with the issue, because it's going to come out. Come on, we've learned that by now. It's going to come out. So it's better for us to, instead of just driving our car, oil leaking, smoking, running hot, instead of just driving our car into the ground, hey, it's time for a daily checkup so that we can make sure that all systems are healthy. And this is your mental system. This is your mind. This is Men's Mental Health Month. And so we need to have these social supports, and I'm here for you. And I trust that even the females in your lives that see this video, they may share it with some of you, and it's because they care for you. It's because they love you and they want the best for you, and they want you to recognize and be self-aware of some of the things that you're experiencing. If this video brought some value to you, I encourage you, like, subscribe to the channel, because this is all this channel is about. It's about empowerment. It's about good news. It's about the things that are going to help you live a better life. You know, it's about providing content to you that's going to help you feel empowered so that you can get up and do what you were put on this earth to do, and that's to be success. We are success from the inside out. So this is the first video in the series for Men's Mental Health Month. We focused on depression. In our next video, we're going to talk about anxiety. So what I want you to do is get in the comments, leave any comments you have, leave any tips that I may have left out that you might feel is beneficial for the community. And remember to like and share and subscribe. All right? Hey, here for you. I'm Coach Will Lane. See ya.